We're the indie project Bee and Theo, and we've been living and travelling the world in vans for the past 6 years. We're currently renovating an abandoned stone barn in Portugal to turn into a beautiful tiny home for us and our cats Ginjey Bear and Furrnando. Follow our journey from the very beginning as we document the whole process of creating an off-grid home.
Hello and good morning. Today is the first day. It's not raining in the morning. Hopefully not going to rain at all today. It's been wonderful having the rain. Everything's coming to life, but it has made it a little bit difficult when doing the building because we need to be out on the veranda and the rain's been so severe it's been flying straight under there. But first things first, I need to let the chickaroos out. Good morning guys, ready and waiting. Look at them, aren't they just the cutest things you've ever seen? I do love you guys, you're super sweet. Got your morning routine. Come on then, you ready to go? Is everyone here? Where's Reese? Is she laying an egg? Egg laying time. Come on. Come on, chickies. The chicken enclosure is one of the many things that I'd like to improve. It's on the list of stuff to do. Obviously for now, as you all know, we are building our house, so this temporary shelter that we built last year to keep them safe when we're out is doing the job. It looks a bit ugly, so in the future we'd like to improve it and make it a lot better. But like I said, for now it works, but eventually it's going to be at the same standard as their coop and much nicer to look at. Now the chickens are out, I'm going to go and find Theo and show you what he's been up to during the rainy days. Hey Gingy Pops! All the animals are here this morning. Gingy's been having a proper lazy time in the rain. She's actually been spending about 99% of the time snoozing in the caravan. It's her favourite space. And while Furrnando's running around with us, it gives her a break from him as well. But let's go and find Theo because I'm really excited to share with you what he's been doing. And also, I forgot to say, we've got an exciting thing happening that I really want you to be a part of, and I'm going to talk about that later in the video.
So Bee told me that she mentioned that it's not raining today. I'm looking out the window, it's just started to rain, which is just marvellous because I love working in the rain with power tools. It's brilliant, but we're going to press on forward. Luckily we have the veranda, and as long as the wind isn't blowing sideways, we can work pretty much without getting soaked under there. And from the last video, you can see here, I've added the supports for the treads. So this is what the treads are going to sit on and take all of the weight. And I've used lag bolts as I have with everything else because I just feel like they're so strong. And like I mentioned before, running up and down this ladder, coming down in the dark, all sorts of things. The last thing you want is this sladder to fail on you. So the first thing to do, I just need to move this beam out the way so I've got access to it, is to fill all of these bolt holes. The idea I had when building this ladder is I wanted it to be one seamless piece so you can't see any of the fixings. So the bolt holes, when the tread goes on and the screws go through here, you won't be able to see them either because I'm going to put plugs in the screw holes. So I just feel like one organic, natural piece of wood. That's the kind of thing I'm going for. I think it will flow really nicely. Sometimes it's nice to see the fixings, but for this, because there's so many in short concession, I actually think that here looks a little bit like an alien head or some sort of robot. So I'm going to fill them in. I've got this dowel. So obviously before I made these holes, I thought ahead on what dowel I could get. So I've got some 20mm dowel, 20mm hole, and I'm just going to plug them up with some glue.
Look at these beautiful wildflowers that I picked the other day. It's my favourite thing about spring is all of these gorgeous flowers come out. I don't even know the name of half of them, but they really brighten up the space. And it's just so lovely to see them. I had visions of this little table having flowers on there. Always risky with Furrnando around, but it just looks so cute.
So I'm just about to cut down the dowel now to go in the holes with the miter saw, so they're perfectly straight. And as I mentioned, this is 20mm dowel, and I'm gonna oversize the dowels that go in the hole so they stick out, and then I can use a fine saw to chop them off afterwards. The reason for this is all of the holes that I drilled are with different depths because I don't have a drill press. I was doing it with a spade bit by hand, and it's really hard to get the depth perfectly the same, so they're all going to be slightly different. So that's what I'm going to do now.
You are my favorite place to go. You're at the end of my favorite road. Above the rest, you're the best I know. You are my favorite shade of rose. A flower bed on my favorite stones. I love the ground where your roots have grown. You're my favorite place.
I'm armed with the rubber mallet, and also if any of you guys want to buy these amazing Birkenstock plug carriers, then let us know.
Those shoes are so big they can be used as bags.
These could sail across the ocean.
You know, we're big fans of reusing things around here. The wood for the sladder is all old wood, which has been sitting for ages waiting for its moment, and it's been really nice actually to make the steps for the ladder out of offcuts of wood, which is pretty cool. But I wanted to say, Theo's sandals, reuse, reduce, reuse, recycle. So whilst the front of them has fallen off from being worn so much, we can reuse them for this building project.
So before I glue these plugs in place, I'm just going over one last time and just making sure all of the lag bolts are tight enough, because the last thing I want is to glue these in place and then for some reason these start to loosen up. So not overdoing it, just tight enough.
Moment of truth. Oh, should we take a before and after? Just because I love that kind of stuff.
Go on,
for
get
Instagram.
my phone out.
So how are you going to do it? Are you going to put glue around, are you going to put the glue in there and then just shove that in?
Just around the edge,
Right.
Probably around the edge of here, and then just knock it in with the rubber mallet.
Okay. And then I guess when you trim it off and I sand it, I can sand any excess glue off at that time.
Yeah, this glue will be fine. It will go clear, and then you can just sand it back.
Perfect.
Maybe I don't need to put it on here.
I don't know if you do. Might be overkill. You've already run out.
Yeah, right. It's quite an awkward angle. It'd be good to kind of put them on the floor, possibly.
Well, why don't you do that? Should we do that?
A couple of blocks, not them, because just anything.
Steps. Oh, yeah. Whereabouts? So we ended up laying it down on its side. It was easier for the glue to come out because going from that way, the glue didn't really want to come out very well. So this is much better and probably easier for Theo actually. He doesn't have to work at an awkward angle. And the third one is now in. It already, even though these are actually protruding a lot because they need trimming down, it already makes a big difference. You don't realise, well I didn't anyway, until the plugs were in, just how glaring the plugs actually are. It's really quite nice actually. Well done.
Feel it now every time I leave. It hits me hard and it cuts me deep. I'm 1,000 miles from happiness, 1,000 miles from you. It's a far
So I'm just moving this roughly back into position where it goes. Need to get it so it's straight, and all the plugs are in place. They need to dry off a little bit, make sure the glue's fully gone off before you go sawing at it. I don't actually know if I've got one of the fine, almost need like a Japanese fine woodworking saw, and I haven't seen one in Castello Branco. Need to have another look, because that would be useful just for little bits like that. But if I have to, I'll have to use the other saw. But right now, I'm going to put it all in position, get some slats, well, treads on there. 38 roughly.
Why don't you...
So
yeah.
we're going, this is the top one.
Yes. Do you want to pass through them and I'll put them in place? Which side up?
Just whichever side you fancy. Whichever looks nicer.
Okay.
This could do.
That way.
Yeah, just getting that angle of this bird's mouth tight. That looks good here. Okay, so the rest should just go on now.
Yeah, and then I guess we just need to slide it from centre. This is the one that I need to sand.
Feels solid, doesn't it?
If you push it towards me and I hold this side,
You want to go over a
it
bit?
needs to come over this way.
Well, let's
because-
measure first.
What, the width
Yeah.
inside?
From here. We'll go from there. You hold that.
How good did that look? All the steps are in, treads, whatever you want to call
So
them.
nice, and seriously guys, it takes up literally, and I've seen in the comments people saying about, you know, they'd want to dance. If you want to dance, come round, you could dance.
All this floor space.
It takes up no room whatsoever.
Ignore the mattress.
Because of the angle we chose, like we said, it is a ladder with kind of stair slats, so it's much more comfortable on your feet. I'll go up in a second, although they're not attached, it might be a bit sketchy. But it looks exactly how I wanted it to look, and you can see through here really nicely. So it just feels like this is its own little space, but you can still see through it and feel the size of the space. It doesn't feel enclosed, it doesn't encroach on the space hardly at all.
Not at all.
So really, really happy with it. Right, we're just marking out now where we need to move the sladder across.
2.5 centimetres.
Yeah, to make sure it's in the middle either side.
When I woke up this morning, found everything in place. The birds were singing pretty songs, the sun kissed me on my face. It feels so good to be alive, it feels so good to see the light. I got this sudden feeling like now's the time to start.
Turn my back for a second and look who's having a snuggle session.
I just sat down for literally 30 seconds just to see what it looked like sitting here with the ladder in the way, and it's not in the way. It's literally perfect. It doesn't encroach on the view whatsoever.
No, it looks lovely.
And then Furrnando came and sat on me, and now how am I meant to get up and continue with work?
I'll just have to finish it all for you.
But we need to do the barrier for the upstairs. I mean,
Yes.
that sounds really simple. It's actually a very technical thing to design and build, but we're gonna make a start on it now. He just doesn't want to get
No.
up, does
Oh, look. He's all snoozy. Come and sit on my lap for a minute, Fernando. I could do with a little break. You can stay on the sofa and chill. Look at this. It looks lovely. I love it. Oh, hello, Snoozy. Oh, how is it?
Lovely. Really nice. sketchy that they're not fastened down yet, but
Yeah, so the treads, whatever you want to call them, they're not fastened down, so it is a bit dodgy walking up there, but it's really nice.
on the feet.
That's good. It's nice to see it from this angle, sitting on the sofa. You can still see everywhere really clearly and it just doesn't get in the way. And I can still see out there, which is perfect. And now I'm stuck with Furrnando on my lap. I can't move him. He's so warm and cuddly. He's been really chill today, which is nice because he's been absolutely berserk. Especially when my aunt and uncle were here. It's like he was showing off the whole time they were here because he just loves the attention. So he's chilled out a bit now. I think he's like, oh, it's just you two. I don't need to show off anymore because you know how absolutely crazy I am. Sweet baby.
So a lot of you guys were worried about this big crack that's going down one of the beams. It's completely normal. The chestnut dries out and it does get cracks in it. It's perfectly fine. This wood is actually 14 centimeters thick, very thick wood, and the actual crack only is about 1.5 centimeters deep, and that's at the top. Gets thinner and thinner and thinner as it goes down. It's not a problem.
It's fine.
Not a problem at all.
It adds to the character of the rustic ladder as well, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's beautiful. I love all the cracks. You know, there's certain ones in the roof beams as well, but I'm just going to start to measure up here. I think it's going to be 2 meters. 2 meters, because we're going to start designing and playing around with how we're going to have this. We actually picked up some material from a metal yard yesterday, which we're going to use for this, but you'll have to wait and find out what that is. Being super careful.
Yes.
So nice. So nice. It's like the perfect compromise between the space that it takes up and the ease of getting up the ladder.
I hear the voice inside me saying be all you can be. You gotta keep the truth in your heart. Believe when you can't see. You don't see the sign, give it time. Reach the top without the climb.
Theo's just had to head out to pick up some supplies, but there's always stuff to do, and I've got here the treads, and as I said, they needed their final smooth sand, so I've done a nice rough sand to get all of the old stains and discoloration off there, but they do need to be smoother for oiling, and also the edges, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but the edges are very sharp still, and I usually tend to do the smoothing off of them when I'm doing the final sand coat. So I'm going to do that now. I've got quite a few to do, so it should keep me occupied whilst he's gone. And yeah, actually I'm looking forward to this because then it means they're fully finished. And I'm going to be using the orbital sander with a 180 grit. So that's the smoothest one I had to hand and should do the job because I usually do 120. So this is battery powered, which is great. I can get straight to it. I've got the first one here to do. So let's get cracking. Hello there, chickens. Thanks for stopping by, making sure that I am doing work whilst Theo's gone. Come on, Sage. Don't lose everyone. Hello.
Oh, you're that way. I got pretty much everything we need.
Wonderful.
To carry on, which is good. Also got some hammerite for the metal that we were talking about earlier. The only trouble is they didn't do a matte, so I translated it on my phone and it said semi-gloss or half gloss. So hopefully that means matte and not shiny, because we really don't want a shiny paint. But
I don't remember, did we talk about the metal?
no, we haven't shown it yet.
We haven't talked about it either, no one's going to know what we're on about.
Check out the size of that drill bit.
Wow.
That's a beast.
That is.
Right, let's show them. It's in here. Excuse the mess. So here we have it. This is the metal rebar that we picked up yesterday, and it's interesting. It's got kind of like a pattern on it. Don't know if you can see that.
A bit close.
But yeah, it should look really nice, painted up black, and then vertically all the way along the mezzanine barrier.
Like that.
You're just gonna have to bear with us to see if this works, but we've got a picture in our head that we want it to look like, and everything else is going to plan, so fingers crossed it looks as good as the rest of the house. So like I mentioned earlier in the video, I managed to pick up this little fine saw that's really thin. So this should be the perfect thing to cut these plugs back. So that's what I'm going to do right now.
Which one are you going to start on?
Start up here.
Just straight in the middle.
Tossed in like a castaway. What we wanted, not what we thought we wanted. Tossed in, you couldn't see it coming. What we needed, not what we thought we needed. Don't give up, don't give in.
The plugs have worked amazingly, and I'm just going to go around now and find all the little bits because they've just popped off and disappeared absolutely everywhere. They're everywhere.
It paid off. Basically what we did, I've cut myself a little bit.
Oh.
What we did is we made sure the grain of this lined up with the grain of the chestnut, but this is just pine, so it's completely different wood. It will have a slightly different colorization to it, but once it's all sanded, oiled, it's going to have 3 coats of Danish oil. It will all just blend in over time. There's no way you'll be able to tell. It's just to take your eye off the shininess of the bolt.
It already does, like,
blends in a lot better.
Amazingly. You've done a great job, well done.
How nice have the plugs turned out exactly how I imagined. Come over here, come closer. Come on guys, don't be scared. Right, look. Look, it's seamless.
It's amazing.
It's seamless. Obviously, like I said, it's pine and chestnut, slightly different, but I've matched up the grains the best I can. Once it's all oiled, which is one of the next steps, but we're not going to do that right now because it smells and we need to use the barn for working inside while it's tipping with rain outside. But what we're going to do right now is jump onto the veranda, and that paint that I brought from the store just earlier, we're going to do a little tester. So tomorrow it will be dry, and then we can see if we want to go ahead with the semi-gloss, half-gloss, whatever the translation was. Hopefully it's like more matte than gloss. How special is this ruler?
Very special. Please don't ruin it. Have you got something to stir it with? Does that stuff need stirring?
Just stir it with my toe.
Good idea, yeah.
Can you imagine? Just whip my toe out.
At least you'd have a rust-free toe forever.
This stuff's good actually, Hammerite, because not to be confused with hemorrhoids. You can
both good products, but totally different.
You can basically products.
They're both good products.
A hemorrhoid.
I thought you meant.
A hemorrhoid's not a product.
I thought you meant hemorrhoid cream. I don't know why. It's just whatever.
This stuff's good because you can paint it on rust, and it's fine.
Apparently.
You don't have to retreat the rust. Get rid of the rust first.
Which is handy because there are little tiny blotches of rust on this.
Yeah, it's just been out in the rain, isn't it? I'll just do a small section.
A small section on there, okay. Let's get ready to rumble. If it's not shiny, this is going to be perfect. Obviously, it's going to be shiny because it's wet. I'm really not keen on a shiny paint. I just feel like with the rest of the barn, a matte one will work well, but I've never heard in my life of something called a semi-gloss. Gloss is always just gloss and it's shiny, so we shall see. Theo's doing a great job with the test.
Gloss is lost.
It's obviously glossy because it's wet at the moment and shiny, so we'll wait till tomorrow to see how it looks, and if it looks good we'll just roll with that because we've got the whole tub anyway, and it saves us a task of having to get rid of the little bits of rust that are on there, and we can get all that painted tomorrow, I guess. So we've got 4 pieces of Douglas fir. These are all 4.5 meters long, and I'm going to sand them. They're not actually in bad condition, they look quite nice, but they have been outside for well over a year. They've been undercover, but even so, there are marks, so we need them to be nice and clean looking, because these are going to be for our banister. I've got a 40 grit that I'm going to be using, and for an hour that I got an 80, which isn't as good, but it's still good enough, because this isn't in, like I said, it's not in a really bad condition, so it shouldn't take too much sanding, but fingers crossed it doesn't take too long.
Aren't really going to plan at the moment, because remember in the last video the belt sander broke, it just gave up, and we thought it was the power cable, but what I've done is I cut down the power cable, reattached it, it still didn't work. So I found another tool that uses exactly the same power cable that works. I switched that over and it still does not work, so it must be something internal in the belt sander. But that means Bee's just spent 2 hours sanding. With this sander's brilliant. It's another Bosch sander. It's very good for more detailing and stuff like that, and like a final sand. It's not good for getting what we need to get off this wood, which is, it's been sitting out for a long time. You can see here the difference between the 2 pieces of wood, and you know there's bits of mould that are deep into the wood, which the belt sander just gets it straight off.
Yeah, it's a surface mould, so it just kind of
just a surface mould, and it's stained the wood. The belt sander gets rid of it instantly, but this takes a long time. A lot of you guys are going to say, how about orbitable sander? We got one of them, we got a powered one and a battery one. Tried it, doesn't work. So unfortunately today we're not going to get the barrier done. It's just not possible, and these things happen when you live off grid. When you live on a farm, things break and you have to change the plan. So unfortunately, to get the belt sander fixed, it's going to have to be taken back to the city, to the Bosch place. They're going to have to send it off and get it fixed. It's going to take a while, so we're just going to have to push on and use this sander. It's just going to take hours and hours and hours, but there's no other thing we can do.
Put your hand in my hand, darling, say go. Keep your eyes on the horizon, stay gold. All I need are your eyes, you're my arrow. Now we're running into
beginning of the video I said that we had something exciting to share with you, and I'm finally about to share it.
Very exciting.
It is really exciting, and it's been hard to contain myself all day. I've been thinking about it, and what it is next year, June 2023, we're heading to Alaska, and we want you to come with us. So it's just like a wonderful trip that we went to Iceland with a fantastic bunch of people who watch our videos. We all went there together, we all explored, and that's what we're going to be doing in Alaska for 7 days, hiking, adventuring, camping out under the midnight sun, seeing wildlife. I'm talking bears, moose, whales. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So if you want to join us, all you need to do is click the link in the description and check it out, sign up and come on holiday with us.
Ever since we went to Alaska the first time, I've been wanting to go back, and I cannot wait. It's going to be incredibly fun to hang out with you guys again on an adventure of a lifetime. And I think we're going to call the video there. It's not the video I was going to make, but this is farm life, this is living off grid. Things change and you have to be adaptable, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to nip to the city and we're going to go and pick up another what's it called, belt sander?
Belt sander.
Because that other sander, it's wasting so much time and effort, it's just completely pointless. So if we just pick up a cheap brand belt sander that can blow up in a couple of days if it wants to.
Not a couple of days, it can blow up when the old one's repaired.
Exactly, once the new one's repaired, then that can blow up. And you know, having another belt sander around isn't a bad thing. So I hope you've enjoyed this kind of build vlog. It's been really cool for me anyway, the process of building this staircase, this ladder. Never done anything like this before. All the angles and making sure that it's super secure, and I'm very proud of how it's turned out. So tune in for the next video, because we will be installing and building that barrier, because I want to sleep up there and I don't want to roll off and die. So tune in and we'll catch you on the next one.